Okay, it's preparing, so we'll go live any second. Okay, we're live. Amazing. Thank you so much for joining this live Facebook session as part of Face Equality Week. I am joined here by lots of incredible people that I've been fangirling over for the past 15 minutes. So we are here today to discuss an incredible campaign that has been going on for the whole month of May, spearheaded by Kelsey, who is here, run by the Moebius Syndrome Foundation. So this campaign has been very much aligned with the face equality movement, and it's been a great kind of conversation starter. So it was really focusing on education, and it was gathering the personal experiences of people with facial differences and disabilities around the world and asking them how they would like to be approached, because we know that so often those human interactions are either outright offensive or awkward, or people don't know what to say. And we really wanted to counteract that. I mean, we can't believe that in 2021, people don't know how to kind of treat other human beings, but actually this is largely the case all over the world. And we really wanted to destigmatize and to kind of tackle the awkwardness head on, and shape things by the very, very personal, unique stories of our wonderful community. So this is a session, an informal discussion about what this campaign has meant, hearing more about the stories that have gone into it, and we just want to have a go at hearing from some wonderful advocates from around the world. So I'm going to go around and ask everybody to introduce themselves. So the first person that I have got on my screen, just before I start, for a visual description, I am blonde, I am wearing glasses, I have a scar on my face, and I'm wearing a pinstripe multicolored white t-shirt. So I am going over to Shelby next to introduce herself.
Hi everyone, my name is Shelby. I live in Baltimore, Maryland. I have been part of the Moebius community my whole life. I was born with Moebius syndrome, but in 2004 I attended my first conference where I got to meet other people that have my same facial difference. I went to college in Ohio, and then I came to Maryland and got a job with the government. I have I've lived a big and fantastic life, and I'm so happy to be able to be here as part of this event to talk about who we all are as people with facial differences. So for my visual description, I have blue eyes. I have my face. I don't have any muscle movement in my face, so my face doesn't move. And I also have arms that stop at the elbow. My forearms are not. I don't have forearms.
Thank
And
you.
I have curly hair.
And you have curly hair.
I have curly hair. Okay.
And what is it that you do what is it that you do for the government?
Oh, I'm an office administrator, so managing correspondence, making people happy, customer service. Yeah.
It's a great place for someone with a facial difference to be working. I think let's infiltrate from the inside.
I'm very, very lucky to be where I am. It's a different world when you work for an organization like the government that supports who you are as an individual. Absolutely. You're right.
Yeah, really cool, really necessary.
Mm.
Thank you, Shelby. Over to Dina next.
Thank you. So I'm Dina Zuckerberg, and I'm the Director of Family Programs at MyFace, which is a nonprofit that helps children and adults with craniofacial differences. I was also born with a cleft lip, a hearing loss in both ears. I don't hear anything on this side, but I wear hearing aid on this side. And also with a small left eye, so I wear painted contacts to look like the right eye, and I have no vision in my left eye. And I live in New York City. I actually went to college in Baltimore. I went to Gotcha College in Baltimore.
Yay.
And yeah, and I am really excited to be here and to be with all of you. So thank you.
Thank you, Dina. Chelsea.
Hi, my name's Chelsea. I was born with Sturge-Weber syndrome with a birthmark over the left side of my face. I'm actually a constituency member for the AboutFace Canada organization, and I'm a peer-to-peer support worker with them as well, who helps people with facial differences, individuals and families connect with resources that they need. I've also been a advocate for the facial differences community now for a few years, trying to bring awareness and acceptance where I definitely can, where I think we definitely need it. I'm a mother of two. I also work as a healthcare worker in the emergency department. I'm a unit clerk. Love working there. It's always exciting. Visual description. I have a large purple port wine stained birthmark on the left side of my face, as well as dark curly hair.
Thank you, Chelsea. And next over to Kelsey.
Hi everyone, I am Kelsey. I am from Canada. I have Moebius Syndrome and I am on the board of directors for the Moebius Syndrome Foundation. Currently in school, getting my master's in intercultural and international communications. Yeah, so a lot going on. I am so happy to be here with this incredible panel. Yeah, and for a visual, I have super red hair and facial paralysis, and there is a giant photo of New York City behind me. But yeah, I'm so happy to be here on this panel.
Thank you, Kelsey. And finally, David.
Thank you, Salida. My name is David Oates, and I live in the rainforest. There it is, on the west coast of British Columbia. So yes, I live in Canada, and visual description, I have white thinning hair, and the left side of my face is marked by a bulging purplish mass called a vascular malformation, and my face was further disturbed by surgery. The lower lip was cut off and other surgeries, and I had very heavy radiation, and this was in 1945 when they had no idea what they were doing with radiation, not that they do now, especially. And in my middle years, I started to realize that I had a disability, and what changed for me is I quit drinking, and I met my soulmate, Marlena, and shortly after I decided that I wanted to get on stage with no training, no education, nothing but desire, and I'm funny. I'm really funny and charming and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I bring to the stage, and I made a living as a storyteller and performer for about a third of a century, and I've seen the facial difference movement grow in remarkable ways. I will say I think the Moebius Syndrome Foundation in many ways has been at the heart of that. Very, very, very good work over the years. And dabbling, that's another thing that I do. I worked it out that I get paid to dabble. So I'm an actor, a writer, published, and all good stuff. Yeah. And I'm happy to be here, really happy.
Yeah, David, I'm such a big fan of yours and have watched from afar for basically as long as I've been in this space. So it's incredible that we are speaking today, and with all of you here, it's just such a joy. And we have something really positive to celebrate, which is a successful campaign. So I guess the first thing to do would be to ask Kelsey about the inspiration, the kind of the mission behind the campaign, and what drove you to want to put this out there.
Sure. So I have the inspiration for this campaign was that I myself have really experienced a lot of I don't know how to put it nicely, but a lot of people have come up to me over the last 30 years and like, what's wrong with your face? Or like, what happened to you? Or why do you look like that? Or, you know, I'm sure it's something that we've all kind of experienced. And so that, taking my own experience and putting it into an educational tool that hopefully other people can learn from. And I know it's not only my experience, but it's so many other people's experience too. And no one likes someone to come up to them and ask, what's wrong with you? Or what, like, why is your face like that? And so I think that was really the inspiration behind this. And I think that by all of us telling our stories and really kind of just educating people and making them think about what they're really saying, and not only what they're saying, but how what they're saying can stay with someone forever. I tell this story all the time. I was at a mall and I just walked into the mall and some random, I don't know what it was, some random guy came up to me out of nowhere and was like, is there something wrong with you? And just, you know, that kind of hits you out of nowhere. And so I didn't really know what to say. And he followed up with like, why do you look like that? And so just things like that, and I know I am not the only person who has experienced that. So that was, sorry for the tangent, but that was the inspiration for this campaign. And everyone here on this panel has actually been a part of that and have told their stories. And I hope that people have seen these stories and they have thought about it. And next time they see someone with a facial difference or any kind of difference, their first reaction is not to go up to that person and say, what is wrong with you? So that's really what I hope comes out of this campaign. And it's just, this week is Face Equality Week, so it just kind of went well together, I think. So yeah, I think that I wanted it to be an educational tool and also allow people to tell their stories as well. So that was, yeah, the inspiration for the campaign.
Yeah, I think you're completely right. It resonated so much, didn't it, with what we were focusing on as part of Face Equality Week, which was education and putting the onus on society to do the work, to understand, to educate yourselves, because so often the responsibility lies on the individual. Chelsea, I believe your video as part of this campaign was one of the first, if not the first. Could you give us a recap and tell us what your advice was and what you shared as part of the campaign?
Definitely. I think I was second, right, Kelsey? I think yours was first, but yeah, I was second. I was just asked, how is, when you have that person that comes up and approaches you, how are you supposed to react? I mean, don't get us wrong. I think everybody here can speak to me when there's times we wanted to pull out our hair and scream and smack somebody, you know, the frustration of it all. But as a mother of two, I've also had to learn to kind of reel that in and use it as an education purpose, because with both my daughters, they will happily stand up and advocate. And I know I've made that difference in that ripple effect. So it's kind of, you know, taking that each situation that comes into play when you have that facial differences, you know, interaction, you know, taking it and kind of gauging what you should do. Obviously, if it's a child, you know, someone's, you know, innocent and just not sure, that's why I always say I get down on a knee, I get level with them, I'll let them touch my skin, check out, cool, purple skin. It's like everybody else's, it's just purple. Educational purposes. But it's those struggles that we all have to face where it's more of those, you know, adults or people that don't have the patience that come up with the blunt or rude comments. And it's always kind of trying to strive to, no matter what they say, just get our education, our advocation out and, you know, teach the world. It's time to be kind. It's 2021. We all need to be, you know, we're supposed to be accepting and being kind to everyone. Well, that should definitely play a role for anyone who happens to be different. We're just as capable of doing anything else out there, you know, having kids, having lives, trying to have our lives. We shouldn't have to feel we have to stop every 2 minutes to justify what we're doing because we look different.
Yeah, wonderful. And I think what you said there about reaching young people as well, I think if you normalize difference and have these conversations there and then it prevents those outright cases of, you know, offense and just outright, I guess, sometimes verbal abuse further on in life because you normalize with a child. So I think it's an incredible thing that you're doing, and I appreciate the responsibility and kind of the burden of that as well. It's a big thing to take on, but it sounds like you're doing a wonderful job.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry.
Chelsea.
No, sorry to interrupt.
Please do.
I wanted to ask you, Chelsea, because I know that you have done a few TikTok lives, and so I just recently got into TikTok and kind of like whatever. So and I've actually seen a couple of your lives, and I have also, unfortunately, seen some of the comments that people feel the need to say on social media. And so I'm just wondering, like, how do you just get through that and just not let it bother you? Because I think that a lot of young people on social media, if they got comments like that, it would kind of like bring them down a little. So what advice do you have for anyone getting those kind of comments?
Definitely. Well, I had only actually started TikTok in January when I was working with the Vascular Birthmark Foundation. We were kind of starting to do our little outreaching there for birthmarks. But then, of course, May being such an important month for me as well, it's actually Sturge Weber Syndrome Awareness Month and Vascular Birthmark Awareness Month. So I thought, okay, well, what better thing to do for my social media platforms than to reach out into TikTok? I've heard it's the new big one. So I thought, okay, I'll try it. To say that I wasn't prepared for those first couple lives is an understatement. There was even one live where I actually broke down because I just had a frustrating day and the comments got to me. There's actually a movie where they reference the lines of, there's one rule about the internet, never read the comments section. And I mean, especially for people with facial differences, it can be very scary. I know I've had a few people reach out to me after these few lives that I've been doing and being like, you know, exactly what you're asking, Kelsey, how do you do it? And I go, I have had people tell me these exact comments in real life that hurt facially. Behind a screen, I know that a lot of those people themselves are either dealing with their own struggles with bullies, their own struggles with mental health, their own struggles of cookie cutter beauty standards, that they themselves feel so stressed and troubled and in pain that they have to take that frustration out on a screen. So a lot of times these people don't even mean what they say. They just look at someone who they think is an easy target, hence the giant purple bullseye, and start shooting out the comments. And I have just learned through 30 plus years of experience that, I mean, half the battle with bullies is, first of all, learning to love yourself. Once you have that center of pure self-love and self-strength, and you know you're awesome, you have your own path, your own destiny, I want to say. I mean, we were all put here for a purpose, guys. We look different for a reason. We were here to remind everyone else that, guess what? We look different. We're still going to rock it. We're just going to rock it our own way. Our views are so different from everyone else's. I love that. I treasure that about myself and many of you, because that's just it. Our outtakes and our visions are so much different. So it's just kind of, you know, letting everyone know that and reminding them that you do not have to think like everyone else. You don't have to look like everyone else. It's being yourself and having fun your way. So, I mean, it takes practice. That is definitely an understatement. I still have times I get off my lives and I go, whew, mommy needs a glass of wine. But I mean, I think everybody has that when they're on social media. That's the unfortunate thing for us. Every time we step out onto a screen or we put something out with a picture, we know there's going to be ramifications of that. And it's just learning to not give a heck about it, you know, push it to the wayside and focus more on the positive comments. I get far more positive than the few trolls and bullies that decide to take the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
David, did you raise your hand? Did you want to add something there?
I wanted to kind of piggyback on what Chelsea said, and I appreciate what you're saying, Chelsea, because I think it's very true. It took me several years to learn being on stage and people come up to me. The reason, a core reason why people like what I do is that everybody feels disfigured in some way, all the time, part of the time, facially, bodily, inside themselves, guilty, whatever, so that when I get on stage and I love myself and I'm confident, they relate to that, okay? So I see us now not as victims, not as survivors, but as teachers, because we have learned to love ourselves, and that's, I listen to all of you, and that's what I see. That's what I hear, that kind of positivity. So things just, you know, kind of changed a little bit, in certainly in my lifetime, and this campaign is certainly part of it. So onward and upward. And I say my face is a gift. It is. And it's a gift not just for me, but for lots of people. So let's, yeah. And I'm not trying to say that we don't have to deal with crap, you know, and insults and stupidity, but everybody does. I happen to be working with teenage girls over the past year, and by God, they get terrible things on social media, no matter what they, even the ones who are like by quote society standards attractive, they even get it even worse because people are envious. So there you go. It's a new day, really, and I think you're talking about that, Chelsea. So thank you.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
done.
so many quotes in there that I could have pulled out, David, and turned into some sort of Instagram post, maybe.
Well,
Yeah, I think there's so much there. I think it's both a blessing and a curse, isn't it? I think it's a great tool to connect with people. And that was something that we reflected upon in one of the previous Facebook Lives around sharing your story to bring about change. Like, largely having that sense of purpose is a wonderful thing to have in life. It does come with its downsides. It does come with exhaustion and like activism fatigue, but at the same time it is a great gift, and like you said, you cut through the crap and have a great appreciation. Dina, tell me a little bit about what you shared as part of this campaign.
So yes, so Kelsey asked if I would share my own thinking about when someone would approach me, if somebody were to approach me. And I feel like one of the things I do is go into schools and I speak to kids about craniofacial differences, about choosing kind, being an upstander versus bystander. And one of the things that I'm really seeing, especially with the younger ones, is that they're just, for the most part, I think more with the younger ones, they're just curious. They've never seen somebody who looks different. They just, so it's a little scary, I think, when you don't know, you've never seen it before. And so I think that reaction is a very sort of, I think, natural reaction. But one of the things that I talk about is how do you then take that reaction or take that feeling and ask in a respectful way and not say something like, "Ooh, what's wrong with you? Ooh," like, but to ask, can I ask about your scar? Can I ask about your hearing aid? Can I ask? And then how and then inviting them to yeah, and being available to answer them. I mean, one of the things that I've learned about myself is that when I was growing up, I was that kid who didn't want to talk about it. So someone would ask me something or look at me or stare at me and I would just shut down. And as I got older, I realized, and it took me a long time, it wasn't until I was an adult really, to realize that, and it really happened when my niece was born. And she would come and try to tell me a secret on the wrong side. And I'd be like, no, you got to tell me on this side. I can't hear you. And then I had to explain that I couldn't see out of my left eye and all these things that just started to come out. And I realized the more they knew, the more they realized that that was just a part of who I was. And that was just a piece of me, not all of me. And so that's one of the things that I try to talk to the kids about when I'm talking to them and explain to them that, yeah, someone may not even want to answer you right then and there. It may not be the right time. And they may want to get to know you first before they'll even be willing to talk about it, and that's okay too. And so, yeah, so that was sort of some of the messages that I gave when I shared my little video. And, it's not to ignore the person. It's not to look at them and look away. And the other thing that really sort of bothers me sometimes is a couple of things. One is somebody will, I remember this growing up too, that somebody will talk more to my mother than they'll talk to me because they think that I may not understand them or I may not, whatever that is. And so that is another pet peeve of mine. And the other thing is that sort of staring and then looking away is another thing that also I think. And anyway, those are some of my thoughts and what I.
Yeah, this isn't something that I have personally experienced, but it's definitely something that I heard quite a lot throughout this campaign and throughout, sharing experiences and hearing people in the community, is that having questions or having conversations directed at someone else that you're with, which right. Even without personal experience of that, it fills me with rage. So yeah. I fully I fully support wanting to address that via this campaign and wanting to. I think one of the key things that came out of our illustrations series was to never make assumptions about someone's intelligence based upon the way that they look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it so often happens. So go on, Shelby. I was going to come to you next. So it sounds like you want to jump right in.
Sorry, I have to echo what Dina was saying about just people not assuming that you're competent enough to answer a question. Like that's happened several times. It happens constantly. Well, not so much now, but I feel like when I was younger, definitely. And I remember one time we went to my aunt took me to a restaurant, and we were so we were eating and have a lovely time, and the waiter every time they came over, they would look at my aunt and say, "So what does she want? Do you want anything? Is everything good?" And like I think after the third time, she just looked them dead in the eye and she was like, "She will answer you. You ask her." And I just I think those moments where someone is so clearly in your corner that's sort of what keeps you going, right? Like when you're like, oh my God, I can't. I remember when I was younger, especially, sometimes I'd be like, I don't even want to go outside today. I'm sure you guys know how that feels. Like, I don't want to do this today. I don't want to go into a new situation where I don't know people. Oh my gosh. But then you have those reminders throughout your life of like when people were so clearly in your corner and an advocate for you, even when you were trying to advocate for yourself and it wasn't working out, you know, just knowing that you've got that support. And I think that's why like celebrations and like and events like this are really important, because it it gives us that platform to like not only, you know, shed a like put a spotlight on what's not going well, but also like the places that we do get support from. And you know, our friends and family and people that love us are so important in our lives. But so Felita, I think you were gonna ask about what I talked about during my video. And I was thinking about this yesterday, Kelsey. And so Kelsey was the person that asked me originally if I would do the video, and I was so happy to. And after it got put on the internet and I watched it, I was like, oh crap, I'm the cupcake girl now. So like I think like my social media hashtag is like cupcake girl. So I guess what I'm going to say about the video is that it was characteristically Shelby level spicy. I'm not necessarily that spicy all the time in real life, but sometimes I think that the you know, the appropriate way to deal with a friendly situation is humor. So I think that levity, maybe that's the better word. So yeah, so I think my video talked about you know, sometimes just that like underlying desire to just be treated like a normal person. Like we've been talking about how we go out, people see us and they're like, oh my gosh. And you're like, okay, I'm here. Bring on the weird situations that will absolutely occur just because I walked into a room. Like, you know, you as a person without a facial difference or you know, with no sense of like bodily difference, you just don't understand. You can never understand how it feels to walk into a new situation because you do not know how that new situation will turn out just because you look like this, you look different. And it's such a surreal experience. I've had some amazing experiences because of the way I look. So I can't say it's been like, it hasn't been all bad, but like you just have to plan for the unexpected. And I don't know how you do that, but when you live this life, that's your life. But I feel like sometimes just the most important thing that a person can do is just let someone with a facial difference be a normal person and not call attention to their facial difference, not make them feel othered, if you want to use that college term, othering. And you know, just let them be, let them breathe and let them relax. And oh my gosh, the people in my life that have let me do that are I just they're angels. Like I am so flippin' thankful for the people in my life that have let me just be who I am. And that's a big ask because I am a weirdo. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm a lot. Even like with or without the disability, it's, you know, it's a mess. But I'm very lucky that I have had people that just say, oh, you're just Shelby, rather than, oh my gosh, you're this thing with a face that doesn't work. What? So yeah, I'm really thankful for I'm thankful for the people who have let me be me.
Yeah, I think we all are, aren't we? I just want to, before we kind of go on to the next section, is just to say anyone who's watching live and wants to throw a question into the comment section, please do so now. I'm sure the panelists would be happy to answer your questions. We've got lots of kind of celebs here in the facial difference world, so I just want to throw it out there that there may well be some questions coming your way. But I think, Shelby, you're so right. I think humor can be a great tool. It really helps to kind of normalize, and I think othering is a word that I really like. I want more awareness of what othering means to be out there in the world. So for anyone who hasn't heard that term before, to be othered is, I use it in the sense that so often someone with a facial difference is only seen as either an object of pity or an inspiration, and neither of those are good, and all of them are othering. It's all about being outside of the, in quotation marks, norm. I think that would be the right way to kind of summarize it, Shelby. Either way, othering, not a good thing.
No, and I'm actually in the middle of a paper for one of my classes, and I actually just used that word in the paper that I am writing about facial differences. So I think it's a very appropriate word, and yeah, to me, it just means like to be, yeah, like outside the norm and kind of like cast off, and not seen as like a normal human, I guess. But yeah, I think it's a word that just explains what it feels like to be different and to be kind of seen as other. So yeah, I love that word. I use it all the time.
Chelsea, what have the kind of the highs and lows of this campaign been? Has there been a defining moment where you have seen a really positive reaction, or what, has there been any key moments?
I think just the comments. I got a comment about, it was on Instagram actually, and someone sent me a message, they sent the Moebius Syndrome Foundation a message, and they just said, like, I have not heard of this before. Thank you so much for educating us. And I actually, and I think that these stories are reaching so many people that have not had experiences with facial difference. So they're being educated and they're learning something new. And I think that was the whole point of the campaign, was to educate and bring awareness to this. And kind of on that same note, I posted a video on TikTok. I guess I'm that person now. And it was about Face Equality Week, and I know, like, most of the videos that I post get like a couple hundred views, whatever. This one kind of took off, and I think I'm sitting at like 160,000 views, and
Wow.
like almost 4,000 comments. And I have gone through probably not all of the comments because there's so many, but the majority of the comments that I have seen are, I have not heard of this, I did not know that this was a thing. So many people said that. I had no idea this was a thing. I had no idea this was a week. I had no idea. Thank you for educating me. And so many people said, not only thank you for educating me, but I am going to learn more. I'm going to Google this. I am going to find out more because I want to learn more. And so those are like for me, like it's not about me. It's not about people commenting and saying it's like, oh, you're so awesome, but I don't care. Couldn't care less what people think of me. But it's like when people say thank you for educating me, even that is enough. But when someone says I'm going to go educate myself more, I'm gonna go find out more. Like that is what surrounds me. Like that experience really has driven me, and just to hear people saying that they took something away and they were educated in some way, and this is now kind of on their radar. Like they had no idea and it existed, but that now they do. And like that's why I do the advocacy that I do. So again, sorry, I'm totally went on a tangent there, but I think that I know it's definitely tough to put ourselves out there, but I think when we do, it really has impact. It has a lot of impact, and it, you know, the negative stuff is maybe what sticks out more, but that's the negative comments, whatever. Like those are not, like those are far and few between, I'd say. And a lot of it is like the education. Thank you for educating me, and that, but that means more than any like negative comment. So, yeah, and I think that it just getting my stories out there is really, I think, changing a lot of people and how they see different. So yeah, it's been a really like eye-opening week, I guess. Even for me, who has been in this space for 30 years, just to hear different perspectives and to really just get out there and educate people. So yeah, it's been a really good experience.
Absolutely. I think everyone has thoroughly enjoyed it, and I think everyone deserves a big nap at the end. David, where do you see this going next? What do we do next? How do we maintain momentum? How do we keep the conversation going? What do you think?
Wow, that's a great question, because that was from being here with you all right now. That's what I was starting to think, you know, and as James Partridge, he was the prophet in terms of seeing this on a worldwide scale. And I realized I had my birthday in January, and I got many, many comments from Facebook friends, and I have almost 4,000 Facebook friends, and they have, and I know Facebook is old-fashioned. Some kids don't even know what Facebook is, you know. But there are 80% of them are people with facial differences from around the world that have asked to be my friend. And I don't, of course, I say yes, but I feel like I want to offer all those friends, and they can be part of the next step, you know. So then maybe you want me to, and I try have to get someone who really knows how to use Facebook to really be sure to reach every one of them. But that's something that I can offer, because just by what I do and what I have been, you know, I realize it really is global now. You know, I just got an email last week from a woman outside Bucharest who has a child with frontonasal dysplasia syndrome. And yeah, she had launched the Love at Second Sight that my wife and I did. and reached out to me wanting to meet other kids, you know, in Romania. That's amazing. And that's not that unusual. So I'm saying that I see something that has a huge pulse. And I think that all of you are expressing that. You know, you're at the crest of a wave. And I feel like it's not like my day is done, but you're the ones who are carrying it for sure. And what I can offer is my experience and what I have almost kind of like by accident built. And so let's go.
Yeah,
You know?
Facebook influencer right here, and like up the revolution, you know. I think you're completely right. The essence of the face equality movement, and what I personally recognize as the kind of the future, is you have to work within our community and empower and bring people together and share stories and give people a sense of, here's someone who understands, and here's a community that we can drive forward change together, at the same time as putting the systems in place externally and recognizing, okay, here's the work that needs to be done in government, in schools, in workplaces. How can we kind of move forward with those two missions at the same time, because they can't exist without each other.
Yeah.
So
I agree. We have to respond to all the people that Kelsey, that you have been talking about, who want to learn more, who want to be educated. How are we going to answer them?
Yeah.
Exactly. That's true. And I feel like, for me, my advocacy is going to be focusing on not only the Moebius Syndrome Foundation and what I can do to advance us as a foundation, but also what can I do personally to educate. And like, that's kind of why I got into TikTok, and I was so opposed to it for like so long. Like, I'm not giving them this. Like, this is for kids. Like, whatever. I'm not gonna. But then one of my friends, actually, she talked me into it. I just sign up. She kept sending me TikToks and was like, you should really sign up. So I did, and I posted videos, and so I think that that's a good question. Like, I can post content and people can watch my content, but how do you like reach out to those people personally and really like add that personal touch instead of just talking to a bunch of people and then kind of them going away. But I think that also, yeah, I think social media is a really powerful tool, but I also think that we need to get this education into schools, into workplaces, into government and police services and EMS, and like, you know, just every public every public space. Like, I think that just people don't understand how to interact with people who have facial differences, and like, I don't think it's difficult, but like, but it's something that people need to be educated on, and I kind of learned through my work and through my school and advocacy. I've learned that it's not as simple as just saying like, oh, just like be nice to people, treat them as you want me to treat it. I like, that's true, but people just are not aware that facial differences exist until they run into someone with one. And so for me, the solution seems simple: just treat everyone like humans, but for others who have never experienced facial difference, they still understand. They don't understand anything about like what a facial difference means. So anyway, so I think that we need to keep doing our part as advocates, but also the education for like schools and governments and all of that. I think that's another piece as well. So
yeah, totally agree. I'm conscious that we said we'd stay on for an hour, so we've got 8 minutes left. But I just want to do a quick fire, give everybody a chance to just think about, okay, where do we go next, and how do we maintain momentum with all of the successes of what Kelsey has started. Over to Chelsea.
Ooh, well, definitely like what Kelsey was saying, definitely keeping the ripple going. You know, doing social media is a good piece for a lot of the younger generations. I find a lot of the older people, though, social media does not have the same ploys. So I agree with her in the sense that we need to be kind of everywhere, anywhere, everywhere. We need people to be like, guess what? This is not as uncommon as you think it is. We are just as equal as anybody else here. So I'm not saying that we need special treatment in the least, but what we need is the same standards as everyone else, the same acceptance, the same being kind. I always make the joke with some of my friends and say, you know, it's just me and my purple skin. Well, purple skin is just as important as any other facial condition. We need to be bringing awareness, yes, in the months of awareness for it, but we also need to be just making it the norm. Cutting out those standards, cutting out those expectations, the cookie cutter expectations that everyone's supposed to live by. And if it means we all just have to share our stories a little bit more, or share each other's, or tell the world about us, we should. And we should be doing it all the time. And we should be making it apparent that, guess what, we're here. Listen to us. We have very cool stories to tell, many of us. We are warriors. You know, we have gone through things that other people look at us and just go, how are you still alive? And we go, because we are warriors. We are here to teach our stories, share our destinations, our experiences, and remind you all that we are not all the same. You know, being kindness to everyone across the board. Like, it's 2021. Be kind to everyone.
Yeah, yeah. And lift each other up, I guess. Lift each other up. Yeah, just like David does with his 4,000 Facebook friends. That's incredible. Thank you, Chelsea. Over to Dina. Where do we go from here?
I think Chelsea's right. I think it's getting our stories out there. And it's also, I think, educating not just kids, but educating those in the medical community. I mean, how many times do I hear a child born with a craniofacial difference and they have no idea what it is or how to treat it, or and then adults and parents. And I was thinking earlier, I was wondering what Chelsea thought, but I was even thinking about, the parent that the child who points or looks or has questions, and the parent that says, and almost makes it like a negative thing to be curious and want to ask the questions. And I think it's also educating parents that, yes, it's okay for the child to ask the questions or be curious, and to teach parents, go home and have that conversation with your child so that it's not this negative thing. And I think that is so important too, because how many times do I hear that and see that experience? And then, and also for parents of children with craniofacial differences to have the tools, and the kids to have the tools to also know how to respond to these things. I think all of that is so important. So I just think it's getting the stories out there. It's and across the board, and making it something that is not so unusual, but it's also a difference. I think we hear about so many other differences, but somehow facial differences has not become part of that fabric yet. So
totally agree. It quite often falls off of the pile, doesn't it? Yeah. Thank you, Dina. And finally, Shelby, where do we go from here? What have we learned, and how do we make sure that we maintain momentum?
I think as far as how do we maintain the momentum? I think actually it's kind of a little bit on us too, as people with facial differences, to remember that there are many other people struggling right now too for equality, and that we need to stay thankful to the people who have come before us and struggled for equality, and to realize how much of a joint effort this is, and fighting for, we're really fighting for everyone, not just for, I don't want to make this too political, I'm sorry, but just,
No,
just
you're
remember,
completely right. You're completely right. Exactly.
yeah,
This is a human rights issue, and you can't look at one section of human rights and ignore the rest.
right. So many people have said, thought, and felt the same things that we have, and that we need to be mindful of those people, and we need to thank them in our own way for what they've done and the suffering they went through, and then we need to remember that we have to at least try to meet those level, or try to follow in that example. And then as far as uh kind of like keeping the education going, I think we really need to keep insisting for standardized like portrayals of people with disabilities in the media.
Yeah.
It's really frustrating to me that we're still in 2021 seeing actors that aren't really in wheelchairs. I'm gonna be honest, that really takes me off. I think that at this point we should have people that are actually different in Hollywood, or nah, I don't even care about Hollywood, but just like, just, I want more reality. I see you, good doctor. Look, that's nonsense. I don't want that. We want real people who are talented doing the jobs that they should be doing.
Yes.
And yeah,
Absolutely.
so I think more standardized views of people with disabilities, which is what we're all trying to do right now. So I think that's really that's going to get to those people that don't use social media, and it's going to help people see that people with disabilities are competent. Like it'll show everyone what we already know.
Yeah.
That was such a good point, Shelby. And that's actually, I feel like I'm talking about myself a lot, but that's what I'm running my paper on from one of my classes, is facial difference representation in the media. And exactly what you said is so, it just gets to me. There was an episode of, I believe it was Grey's Anatomy, and I think the
Oh my God, so irritating. I tweeted at them where they had a child who supposedly had Moebius syndrome.
Yeah.
That, and I had so many people contacting me saying like, what do you think about this? And I don't watch either of those shows, but I watched that episode, and it was so bad. It was horrendous, absolutely horrendous, and that's not okay. And I said I was like complaining about it to, I'm not gonna say who, but and they kind of like brushed it off, and they were like, it's a TV show, it's just a TV show. It's not just a TV show, like it's something that millions of people see.
Yeah.
And
yeah, when visibility of Moebius syndrome is very limited as it is, if that is that person's first exposure to it, they're just, it's completely warped and completely untrue. And actually, you've missed an opportunity to provide someone who actually has Moebius syndrome an acting opportunity on screen. And there's millions of people out there who actually have talents and want jobs and need these opportunities, and they're being completely overlooked for non-disabled, non-facially different actors. Yeah, it's nonsense. I go on for 2 hours. Go on, David.
I'm going to need to run in a moment, but I just want to make one suggestion, and that I think it's on you, Shabada, to call a conference of people about face in Canada, Children's Craniofacial Alliance, Phoenix Society, all the different organizations, because there still is some division. But I think the time has come to, and I know people who are active in Hollywood too, and I do think that's important. And, you know, I think you, Felita, are in the unique position to pull people together on a larger scale. And so I ask you to do that, and I'll be fully quantitative if that's what happens. I know that's a huge request.
Okay,
It's not
David.
a request, it's a demand. Yeah.
It's a demand.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to do it now, haven't I?
Yeah, so I have to believe, I thank you and I honor you
Pass
all.
the baton on to me.
Rosemary, thank you for standing by with us. Take care.
Yeah, thank you so much, David. It was so nice to finally meet you, and it was such a joy.
Likewise. Yeah, I'm a fanboy. I'm a fanboy now.
Oh, thank you, David. Yes, well, we should probably round up, but I just want to kind of open up the floor for any final observations or any final key things that you want to get across. Please do say it now. Anyone?
It's been really wonderful talking about this. I have to say, Chelsea, I've actually heard about you from Kelsey, and I just think now getting to listen to you and see you, I just think you're so adorable. And I love hearing about your stories of working with children and working with the public. It made me think of a few days ago, I saw there was a little girl and her mother at my building where I work, and you know, when you have a facial difference, I'm sorry, I'm not going to make this a whole story, but just basically, I always feel a little nervous on like talking to children that I don't know, because children are generally pretty put off by, children are put off by the way that we look sometimes. And but this little girl, like she kind of warmed. I was with a coworker, and she warmed up to us like almost instantly. And it was just such a how times have changed. I think people parents are a lot more educated now about like how like people with disabilities, like you don't have to like keep your kid away from them, like I used to have people yank their kids away from me and stuff like that. But what I liked about you was hearing your story about your children, and yeah, I don't know, I'm happy to meet you and to have gotten to hear a little bit of your story. So yeah.
Thank you. Right back at you, my dear. Do what we can do, right? Get our faces out there, no pun intended. But I definitely agree. That's kind of where we need to just, as scary as it may seem, most of the time making those encounters, those interactions are so much more beneficial, because then people get to see the real you. They get to see behind the mask, as I always say. They don't see the scary stuff anymore. They get to meet the real you. And that's the unfortunate thing, is social media has made us all into monsters. So to the average person, we look so looming and scary and daunting to even talk to. And it's just giving us that couple minutes to get to know us and know, guess what? I'm a mom, I'm a healthcare worker, I'm a, each of you with your special gifts and talents. It's getting our stories across so that people can be like, oh, I'm the same age as her. I have the same zodiac sign as her. Oh, I have guess what? Yeah, we're exactly the same. We just have our little bits of us that are unique.
Right.
So, right.
I think that's a really good point about, sorry, I'm not going to go on forever, but I just, I think that's a really good point about the media as well, and how facial difference is represented in the media. That's something that obviously needs to change as well. And I could go on for like 5 hours about that, but I will not. So, but definitely something that needs to change.
100%. Well, this session has obviously been recorded and will go into our brand new education hub, and as and when all of the discussions and issues that came up today come up again and we are engaging with businesses, we are engaging with schools, we will continue to refer back to this as a resource. Go and listen to people with real life experiences and take their lead. So this has been a total joy, and it's so nice that we're all connecting and fangirling over each other. It's just, yeah, let's all keep up the incredible work, and just massive props and massive congrats to Kelsey on a successful campaign. And yes, let's keep the momentum going and keep reaching people and equipping them with these tools and education. So thank you. Thanks everybody for watching as well, and there's another live tomorrow, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm gonna
Thank
go
you
on.
all so much.